All right, so I've done most of my polys in the area that I was going to work on. Obviously, I still have a long way to go, but you can see that I've made a lot of progress and I've done all these polys here. And if I turn off my photo layer, then I can kind of see my progress. I'm going to encourage you to frequently, have your photo layer turned off to see how it's going, and then you can turn it back on to keep working. So I've got a layer with all my polys right here, like we talked about, and then my photo layer, so I can turn that on and off really easily. So I want to zoom in on a little something just to show you how things work. So again, my workflow is pretty simple. I'm going to hit V on my keyboard so that I can then select it, and then I to fill. V, I, V, I. Now here's the issue I'm going to run into. There are going to be times when it is really hard if I hit V to select a shape. Now if I zoom in way small, I can usually get it. But if it's not that small, ooh, wrong way. It might be hard to actually select this little triangle without accidentally selecting the triangles around it. So, I might get this one done, this one done, this one down here done. Let's do I right there. And now it's really hard to get, let's say, this one, because it keeps wanting to select other ones around it. So if I need to see the ones that are near it, I can keep getting this triangle, but not the empty poly. What I can do is I can go into my layers, my poly layers, and I can find this. Now, if I were to scroll through, this would take a billion years because I have literally hundreds of polys already. So I can hit this little magnifying glass icon for the locate object. So with this poly selected, I can magnify, and that'll skip me right to it. And then if I just lock it down, then I can easily select this other poly next to it, hit I, fill it with color, and I'm good to go. Now, once I've done that, then I need to remember to unlock this other poly, and I'm back in business. So if you're ever having a hard time selecting a poly, if you have a really fine area, this happened to me a lot, you can always sort of work through it that way, where you can select it or select the ones around it by just grabbing what you need to grab. So most of the time it's working, which is good. But I ran into a couple of situations where I literally could not grab a poly because it was just too tricky, So I might go in and say, hey, it's really hard to get. I don't know what I'm doing here. So you go into your layers panel and you can quickly solve that problem by locating it using the magnifying glass and then locking the adjacent polys in order to then select the poly that you need. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so I've gone ahead. I've done most of what I need to do. I'll just kind of keep going. And again, if I turn on my photo layer or turn off my photo layer, I might find gaps. So again, I use my direct select tool to kind of oh, that's not what I wanted. Grab a specific anchor to kind of move things around. I can move my anchor point around and fill my gaps in by zooming in. I want this. Not the whole thing though. There we go. So you can move things around pretty easily that way. Select what you need to select. Just kind of clean it up that way. Or again, you might decide you like the gaps. That's fine with me. I really, it's really, you're the artist here. You know what it needs. So you can kind of decide what you need to do. And again, little imperfections, you decide if you like that fact that this does not hit right there. But when I command 0 out, man, who can see that, right? So you have to kind of decide what you're going to do with that. So you're really just going along, you're selecting all your different polys, you're filling in them with the most appropriate color, and eventually it starts to take shape and you can see some really cool stuff.